You actually did it this time. The thing you kept saying you would. You woke up earlier. You trained. You studied. You said no to the distractions. For a while, it felt powerful. Now, it feels heavy, which is the part nobody puts in the montage. Not dramatic, just harder. And now you're quietly wondering if you're built for this at all. You are. You don't lack motivation. You're just in the phase nobody warned you about. The middle. And if you misread this phase, you'll quit something that was actually working. Let's make sure you don't. It felt better when it started. That doesn't mean it was better. It just means it was new. The first 2 weeks had energy. You felt disciplined, focused, different. Then something shifted. The alarm felt heavier. The workout felt slower. The studying felt repetitive. You didn't quit, but the spark isn't there anymore. And without that spark, you start questioning everything. Is this working? Should it feel this hard? Maybe I was just riding motivation, like it was a subscription that expired. This is where most people slowly loosen their grip. When you start something new, your brain rewards you for it. Novelty increases dopamine. Once the behavior becomes familiar, the emotional reward drops. Not because it stopped working, because it stopped being new. It isn't failure, it's the dip. When Jinwoo first awakens, everything is intense. New power, new possibility, but that moment doesn't last. What follows is daily quests, push-ups, running, repetition. No audience, just incremental stat increases. The awakening was loud. The growth was quiet. You didn't lose motivation. You lost the emotional boost that comes from starting. That boost was a launch pad, not fuel. The dip isn't a sign to quit. It's the moment where discipline replaces excitement. And that shift always feels heavier. So don't panic when it feels ordinary. Ordinary is the gateway. You're not falling, you're transitioning. And how you interpret this phase will decide whether you grow or reset. Let's be clear, not everything deserves your persistence. Some paths should be abandoned, some goals should be quit. So before you push through this heaviness, you need to know what you're standing in. A dip or a dead end. Right now, you're re-evaluating every day. Is this worth it? Am I wasting my time? That constant reassessment is exhausting. It drains more energy than the work itself. And the more you question it, the heavier it feels. Eventually, the doubt becomes the reason you stop. Not logic, fatigue from thinking. You don't need a life audit. You're not a company doing a rebrand every Monday. You need one question. If I continue this exact path for the next year, does it logically compound? Not emotionally, logically. Will the reps stack? Will the skill deepen? If the answer is yes, you are not in a dead end. You are in a dip. If the answer's no, then quitting isn't weakness. It's clarity. But most of the time, you're just tired. And if you're honest, you're not confused. You're uncomfortable with how long real growth takes. Jinwoo's daily quests look unimpressive, but the stats increase 1 point at a time. The trajectory moves upward. If the stats were frozen, that's a dead end. But they weren't. They were compounding quietly. You don't need to redecide your goal every morning. That's not discipline. That's insecurity disguised as reflection. Ask the question once. If the path compounds, stay. Stop renegotiating. Execute the day in front of you. Small inputs, quiet repetition. Let time do the multiplying. Starting felt powerful. Continuation feels like responsibility. That's the difference. In the beginning, everything feels aligned. You tell someone you've started. They nod. They respect it. You feel like you've changed. But now, no one cares that you're on week 5. No one notices the quiet repetition. Meanwhile, your feed's full of 6 months later transformations. Everyone else looks like they're leveling up faster than you. And internally, it feels the same. No dramatic breakthroughs, no visible transformation, just you and the work. This is where it starts to feel lonely. Not socially lonely, psychologically lonely. Maintenance doesn't feel heroic. It feels normal. Early dungeons were chaotic. Life or death. Adrenaline. He wasn't confident. He was desperate. Later, Jinwoo walks in calm, focused, measured. The fights didn't get easier. He got integrated. The fear didn't disappear. It just stopped controlling him. Intensity became control. You don't quit because it's impossible. You quit because it stopped feeling impressive. The beginning feels like becoming someone new. Continuation feels like proving it, and proving is heavier. Let it feel ordinary. Do it anyway. I say that calmly now. I didn't always. I've quit here before. Not because the goal was wrong, because I misread the phase. I called it clarity. It was impatience, and impatience always wants to renegotiate. The work isn't what's draining you. The daily redecision is. Every morning you ask, am I still doing this? That question costs more energy than the habit itself. You wake up, you feel the heaviness, and instead of executing, you evaluate. Is this still worth it? Should I pivot? Maybe I need a better plan. It sounds mature. It feels responsible. It's also a convenient way to avoid doing the next rep. But when you do it every day, it becomes a slow leak. Momentum doesn't disappear in explosions. It disappears in negotiations. You don't quit loudly. You loosen quietly. And every time you reopen the decision, you make quitting easier. Commitment is lighter than constant reconsideration. If you've already asked the compounding question, if the path makes logical sense, then reanalyzing it daily is not intelligence. It's anxiety. Anxiety that disguises itself as productivity. Jinwoo doesn't wake up and debate whether daily quests are still worth it. He doesn't stand there staring at the system screen every morning asking for reassurance. He executes, not because he feels inspired, because the decision was already made. That's power, not emotion. Finality. Imagine going to the gym but renegotiating every set. Do I really need this one? Maybe tomorrow's better. You'd never finish. You don't need to feel certain every day. You need to stop reopening the door. Decide once, then execute. No daily philosophical crisis, no constant optimization, just the next rep, the next page, the next focused hour. Continuation isn't emotional. It's repetitive, and repetition is lighter when you stop arguing with it. You don't need a breakthrough. You need a +1. The middle isn't one with heroic effort. It's one with incremental improvement. Think about saving money. One small deposit doesn't look impressive. It almost feels pointless, which is why your brain files it under not urgent, but repeated consistently, it multiplies. The growth isn't in the deposit. It's in the repetition. Your effort works the same way. Look at Jinwoo's stat screen. Strength +1. Agility +1. Endurance +1. Not +100, just incremental growth. And sometimes the dungeon goes badly. He gets injured. He struggles. But the system still tracks effort. It still tracks improvement. The stats don't require perfection. They require accumulation. This is how you survive the dip. Not by doubling the workload, by refining it. One additional rep, slightly better form, 5 more minutes of focus. 1 distraction resisted. That's it. Not dramatic, but repeat that daily. You're not the same person in 6 months. Here's another important reminder. Bad days still count. If you show up at 60% instead of 100%, it counts. If the workout feels weak, but you completed it, it counts. If the study session feels unfocused, but you sit down and try, it counts. Continuation is not perfection, it's persistence. Be kind to yourself in the dip. Not soft, kind. Soft says skip it. Kind says do what you can today and come back tomorrow. You don't lack motivation. You lack patience with invisible progress. Transformation feels ordinary while it's happening. The plus ones don't look impressive until they stack. And one day, the person you were at the beginning would struggle to keep up with you now. And that change didn't come from a breakthrough. It came from surviving the middle. You started. That took courage. Now you're carrying it. That takes maturity. The awakening makes you feel powerful. The repetition makes you powerful. If the path compounds, stay. Add the plus one. Let bad days count. Stop waiting for it to feel powerful again. It probably won't. Continuation is the version of you that survives when the applause stops.